This video is just a review on solving one-step equations. Now, this is section 2.2. It will be a part of the quiz Friday. So look how easy it is. Just one step, right? Like, you want to get d by itself on one side of the equal sign. So you need to get rid of this minus 8 by doing the opposite, plus 8. And of course, that'll cancel out, but the equation will be off balance unless what you do to one side, you do to the other to maintain the balance. So the d comes down, the equal sign comes down, and 17 plus 8 is 25. So there's your answer. D equals 25. It does say solve each equation and check your answer. So on the quiz Friday, I would take this 25 and think about it by plugging it in right here. 25 take away 8, that really is 17. That's how you double check it mentally. Now on your worksheet itself, you could actually flip it over because I have the answers posted on the back, so you could be checking your answers as you go. So on this video, I just want to go over a couple of them. I'll be doing not all of them, but just a couple of them. So some of them are really easy, where you just add 8 the way we just did. Some of them, like on number 7, what do you need to do before even thinking of anything? Changing the minus to plus, right? And then you could say, all right, I need to get n by itself on one side. I need to get rid of this 8. I'm going to subtract 8, cancels, subtract 8, and you will have n equals negative 7, and you're done. All you have to do now is double check it, and if you were to take the negative 7 and plug it back in right here, negative 7 would be positive 7, and you'd have 8 take away 7, which really does equal 1. Of course, you could just flip the paper over and see if you got the right answer, because the answers are posted on the back of your worksheet. Let's go to something a little bit more strange, kind of like number 12. Why is that one a little bit more strange? Because the m value is on the right side instead of the left side. It's okay if the m is on the right or the left. It doesn't matter where the variable's at. Your goal is to get x, or m in this case, by itself on one side. So the m is on the right side of the equal sign. I don't want this 15 in front of the m. Now, this does not say m plus 15. It doesn't say m minus 15. It really says 15 times m, right? Okay, so if I want to get rid of the multiplication of 15, how am I going to do that? I'm going to divide by 15. Remember, to get rid of something, you do the opposite. If there's a fire, turn it off with water. If there's times 15, do it divided by 15. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So you're going to divide by 15 over here. Okay, and of course, you're going to have m left over on the right side equals, and 180 divided by 15, what is 180? Is negative 12. So I would write my answer with the m on the left side and the negative 12 on the right side. Either way is fine though. Okay, of course, if you were to double check it by taking the negative 12, plugging it back in, it really will give you a negative 180. So it's all pretty straightforward. I think this week of algebra is one of the easiest weeks you're going to have. I think it's going to be one of the easiest quizzes that you're going to have. Because it just has one-step equations on this worksheet, and tomorrow we're going to be doing like two-step equations. So this Friday's quiz should be a piece of cake. Let's look at one that has fractions in it. Now, which one would you guys like to see? 16? All right, so number 16, I have a over 15. It's a fraction, and I also have 4/5. So this might be a little confusing. You want to get a by itself, and there's a divided by 15, because that's what a fraction actually is. So how do I get rid of a divided by 15? You multiply by 15. Put a multiplication dot and put a 15. And notice that I write the 15 up on top. Some people write the 15 down here. That would be incorrect. You want to write the 15 up on top, because if 15 is on top and 15 is on the bottom, that's when it actually cancels out, right? Now, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So you're going to multiply by 15 over here also. And again, notice that I'm putting it up on top. Now, the reason why I'm putting it up on top, because 15 on top over 5 on the bottom, that could actually be reduced. That could actually be divided. 15 divided by 5 is what? 3. So you could actually do this. Cancel, cancel, and replace the 15 with the 3. Okay? Now let's say you didn't want to cancel. You could always keep the 15 on top and put it over a 1 on the bottom. And then 4 times 15, you'd get 60. And 5 times 1, you'd get 5. And then 60 divided by 5 would give you 12. And that's the same answer that we're going to get right here by canceling out. We have 4 times 3. That's going to be 12 anyway. So it's easier, I think, to cancel first and then multiply. So let me rewrite my whole new equation. A is by itself equals, and we said 4 times 3, that's 12. And there's my answer. A equals 12. Yeah? Now sometimes it doesn't always work out that nice. Now what do I mean by that? All of these work out pretty good. But let's take a look at number 20. The last 4 are those phrases where we have to write an equation, and then they want us to solve it. So if we take a look at number 20, it says negative 1/8 of a number is negative 3/4. Well, if I read it, negative 1/8, okay, that's negative 1/8 of a number. You could put n, you could put x. I'm going to use x, even though I think the back side of your worksheet, they use the letter n. But it doesn't matter. This is negative 1/8 of a number. And it says is, what does that mean? Equals. And the answer is going to be negative 3/4. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your equation. And that's what they ask you, to write the equation, but they also ask you to solve it. So, right here, it might get a little confusing if you start trying to cancel the 8. Because, maybe not, but you could get rid of the whole thing at once by multiplying by the reciprocal. And in this case, the 1/8, it doesn't really matter. So let's multiply by 8 on both sides. Multiply by 8, multiply by 8. That cancels. And over here on the right side, you could actually cancel the 8 with the 4, and you'll have a 2 left over up on top. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to cancel the 8 with the 4 and have a 2 left over up on top. So what do I have now? I have negative x equals negative 3 times 2, which is negative 6. So all I need to do is get x by itself now, which means I need to get rid of this negative sign. So if you multiply both sides by negative 1, it'll just change both signs, and your answer will be x equals 6. And believe it or not, that's not the one I wanted to explain. I'm sorry. I wanted to explain a more challenging one. I think it's this one. Is it this one, or was it this one? Let's go with 21. I think that one's the one I originally wanted to explain. 5 over 6 of a number is negative 5/9. Okay, so in this case, yes, you could multiply by 6 to get the 6's to cancel, but then you're going to have a 5x left over, correct? Now, it's easier to get rid of the entire fraction by multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 6 over 5. And if you multiply both sides by 6 over 5, you'll get rid of everything in one step. So check it out. The 5's cancel. The 6's also cancel. You end up with x. You end up with equals. Now over here, the 5's cancel, and you could even reduce the 6 over 9. If you reduce by 3, you're going to have a 2 up here and a 3 down here. So you really have x equals 2/3. Actually, I'm sorry, x equals, I forgot about this, negative 2/3. And that's probably as hard as this page worksheet homework gets. I hope this helps. It'll be on Edmodo. Yes?